most amazing about the Shifa Hospital incident is that the Hamas was silly enough, in a way, to mass so many terrorists in one place, making it, of course, easy to attack, but also making it easy to spot. I mean, it's not like you're having 10 or 20 guys coming, you're having hundreds of people going into Shifa. So it's true that it's a very big complex. It's like a small city, this Shifa complex hospital, with a lot of people going in and out, and visitors, evacuees, and of course easy for terrorists to mingle with the civilian population. Nevertheless, it was a bit obvious that somebody would notice 800 people, that's a lot of people. So of course, Shifa Hospital on the round. Did they come all out of the tunnels? I don't think so. I think they mixed with the general population to arrive in civilian clothes, if I can put it that way. They don't really have uniforms, but without their weapons, meaning that they had a way to concentrate equipment and weapons apart from that. So the IDF just waited to see how far this would go, how many of these terrorists would redeploy in Shifa Hospital, indicating that they haven't found, the Hamas hasn't found an alternative command center in the north of Gaza. They could have gone somewhere else, and apparently there isn't somewhere else. That apparently where they had the infrastructure they needed to regroup. So the waiting game was demanded a lot of cool on the part of the IDF to wait for the proper time to catch as many as possible of these people alive if possible, so we can interrogate them. I think a lot of intel is going to be gathered from those who were arrested. Hopefully intel as to the whereabouts of the hostages, which by now is extremely difficult because the Hamas, as we understand, is moving them around all the time. The Hamas is really afraid now of any intel that might reach the IDF for the simple reason that we are offering quite a bit of money to those who will come up with such info, and there are many people in Gaza who will be willing to tell us where the hostages are for a little money. The problem is that the Hamas knows that, and they're moving them around all the time, so we have to arrest and interrogate every day.
I want to discuss with you, after this Al-Shifa operation, the looming Rafah operation, which Netanyahu has told U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken that Israel will go forward with this operation with or without the U.S.'s support. Do you believe that Netanyahu can and will launch an operation in Rafah? And tell me a little bit about the significance of that stronghold for Hamas.
So, first of all, there are two things about Rafah. The first is we must deal with Rafah. We must neutralize the last brigade, that last stronghold of the Hamas in the Gaza Strip to achieve the military goal, at least the military goal of dismantling the military power of the Hamas. It's a must. Now, the second thing is it's not urgent. We don't have to do it right now and in a very massive manner like we did when we started the war in the north, for the simple reason that this stronghold is isolated, it's stuck there, they cannot operate, they are underground. Would they just put their nose out, they would be immediately picked up by the IDF and shot. So really, in a way, Rafah must be destroyed, but can wait. There's no urgency. It can wait so much that we could accept a very long truce in exchange for the liberation of some hostages and just deal with it later. It can also be attacked in a different manner by incursions, meaning even though there are still many civilians around this area, we can open what you call tactical corridors, a very narrow corridor or road that goes through the civilian population towards the target, hit that target, and then come out again. That would be a very efficient way of operating, and that the American would for sure agree. What the Americans want to see in the end is a clear plan of how, and it is a complicated matter, how to evacuate so many people, more than 1 million people, out of that combat zone to make sure we would avoid collateral damage. I think they're doing this for the Palestinians, but also for us. I think they're worried that we might create such a level of collateral damage that we would lose a lot of support that we still have, in spite of all the things that we hear around the world, maybe an arm embargo, maybe this, maybe that. All in all, nobody's asking to stop, the Israelis to stop. Everybody's telling the Israelis, you have the right to defend yourself and you should finish the Hamas. But we have to also comply with certain demands. And if there are humanitarian demands, I don't see why we should not comply. I don't see the necessity at this point in the war and because of the situation worldwide for Mr. Netanyahu to start arm wrestling with the Washington administration.
Raphael Jerusalmy, thank you very much for your insight this morning.